Hello, everyone. I am not Vera, but I am logging in from Vera's office. So I'm Rebecca Loli. I'm the Assistant State Director of Title II Programs and Partner Engagement. And so Adult High School falls under programs, and we're very proud to be a partner with North Carolina Department of Public Instruction to be offering the Adult High School program in our communities. So I just wanted to welcome you all today and briefly give a couple of just facts and figures, some fun talking points as you're talking with your community partners in this next year. We have some things we can be proud about. Overall, our adult high school MSGs between credit attainment and graduation makes up about 8% of the MSGs that we get in the state. And our adult high school credits, the credit gains are growing more rapidly than our graduate gains, those are also growing, but not at the same rate. So that tells me that if we're earning a lot more credit MSGs, that, probably next year we're going to be seeing a lot more graduates, which is exciting. Since the beginning of this grant cycle in 2020, 2021, our enrollment has grown by 35% in adult high school programs, which is outstanding. And Piedmont Community College just recently restarted their adult high school program. So congratulations. And Mike tells me you all recently celebrated your first graduate. So we're excited to celebrate with you. We have a big webinar today in terms of just a lot of content to cover. Mike and Carla have been working really hard on reviewing the adult high school manual and updating everything, including ADVANSYS information, which I know has been coming out over the year in bits and pieces, but we're glad to have it all in the manual this time. So I'm going to kick it off to Mike and the committee, and they'll walk through the material. If you have questions, we look forward to some discussion at the end.
Thank you, Rebecca. Carla, can you share your screen with the slide deck, please?
Is it Sharon?
I can see. Can everybody else see the slide deck?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rebecca, as everybody has filed in. Welcome everybody to the AHS webinar. I'm Mike Tildsley, Coordinator of Adult Education and for Corrections Adult High School at the System Office. Today, myself, along with Carla Parnell and members of the Adult High School Advisory Board, are going to go over some important adult high school information. You go ahead to the next slide, Carla. We're going to go over some of the main components for the Adult High School Implementation Guide and where to find those resources. We'll talk about some of the program requirements from DPI. And then we will be talking about making sure that your program aligns with the updated implementation guide, as well as the agreement of affiliation submissions process and the due date for that. Okay, ready for the next one? So some of the benefits of adult high school. Adult high school program supports the core purpose of WIO Title II, and we're here to create a partnership and assist adults in attaining secondary school diplomas. We do offer the program for minors 16 and 17, but there are some requirements for this that we'll get into momentarily on another slide. This adult high school program will guide participants to mastery and required courses from DPI in partnership with Community College System, and it will teach the curriculum for developing career pathways, and that will provide access for employment and training services. So the agreement of affiliation. So if you are new to adult high school, we have these documents known as agreements of affiliation. It's basically a document that sets forth procedures and establishes a relationship between your LEA, your local education agency, your county usually, and local community college. At a minimum, the document must include several signatures, your superintendent, community college president, director, and coordinator of your AHS program. Also important are the number of credits that you're gonna need to graduate. The DPI requirement is 22 credits to graduate, but however, some LEAs may require more than that. So check with your local education agency to make sure that you are in agreement on that. And basically, it also says that both parties are assuring that the diploma and transcript are going to represent the same appearance and quality as the one the LEA issues. Okay, so the other part for the agreement of affiliation, the documents are due every 2 years on even years on October 1st. And everyone should submit a revised agreement of affiliation to reflect the new implementation guide and DPI requirements, graduation requirements for students for future ready graduates. We ask that you submit a PDF version of your agreement of affiliation to the Moodle course. And if you have any questions about this process or issues with your Moodle login, if you'll email Brandy Brown, we provided her email address, and everyone will get this slide deck soon after this presentation is concluded. Once you've submitted your agreement of affiliation document, we'll only reach out to you if there's an issue. Otherwise, you should operate as though it has been approved unless you hear different from us. And please make sure that you have copies of your AOA to your cooperating Board of Education. The community college gets a copy, and the Board of Trustees. Okay, so who can we serve? We can serve folks that are 16 and up, but minors need some specific documents for that to be approved. We need the minor release form, which it has to be stated that the student is withdrawn from public school or private agency, and someone from the public school or agency, usually the principal or superintendent, will sign off that that is true. The other document that's needed is the minor applicant notarized petition. And this typically comes from the parent or whoever has custody of the student. It can also be an emancipated minor, but it's important to note that the form should be notarized. So eligible adult high school participants will include folks who are at least 16 years of age. 16 and 17 have the requirements that we just listed previously. They're not enrolled or required to be in secondary school under law, and do not have secondary school diploma, and English language learners. So incoming transcript evaluation. So an incoming student is required to have an official high school transcript if we're going to be considering them for transfer credits. Official transcripts can be accepted if they meet future core requirements via your agreement of affiliation with your LEA, and we accept credits that have a grade of D or better. A student can be entered into adult high school without any transcript available, but they would enter as having necessary all the credits required for graduation that are set on your agreement of affiliation with your LEA. So that's basically what the rest of that says. And with that, I think we're ready to hand off to Sissy. Are you ready, Sissy?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
So good afternoon, everybody. This slide deals with the initial placement for the student. So as you know, under normal circumstances, we are required to give each incoming student an NRS placement based on a valid pretest. However, with adult high school, there is the option of not giving the test an NRS assessment, because we can place adult high school students based on their incoming number of credits. So if a student comes in with fewer than 75% of his or her credits, which is 16 and a half, less than 16 and a half if you're requiring 22 credits to graduate, they have fewer than that, the student can be placed at ABE level 5. If they have 16 and a half or more, 75% or more, then the student should be placed at level 6. And that placement is not going to change throughout the year. So if you if a student starts at adult high school and you place them based on their credits, then that placement will continue with the student throughout the year, even if he or she switches to HSE. Okay. The EFL must be set for adult high school students each new year, because since you do not necessarily have an NRS placement, there is no 270-day look back period. So each year, starting in July, you will need to reset the EFL placement for adult high school students, assuming that student is going to continue in the adult high school program. And again, you don't have to give an NRS assessment, but if you do, the student can be awarded an NRS gain. So I would recommend giving the placement even though it's not required, because that gives you another opportunity to make an MSG for that particular student. In that case, you could either make the MSG based on a credit gain from less than 75% to over 75% of credits, or a placement gain based on a TABE or a CASA score going up from one level to the next. So it just gives you more opportunities to make gains. And then with our adult high school students, we are required to have a permanent record for each student. So that record would include the student's initial and final transcripts, any kind of related records showing credits, and attendance. And the attendance may not be in the physical file. It's probably going to be in your data system, such as Colleague or ADVANSYS, and that's fine as long as you have those records in some location that's accessible. Okay. And next up.
I have you on this one, Sissy.
Okay. Adult high school transcripts, you are responsible for providing transcripts. They must be of the same quality and appearance as the local LEA. And now that we're in ADVANSYS, everyone's transcript should look the same anyway. But if you are using a different system, it cannot be handwritten. Your transcript must bear your college seal. And it's going to show both the transferred credits and the credits that you awarded in adult high school, so that it will provide a cumulative GPA. And that's especially important for schools that are doing RISE or something similar, so that that cumulative GPA can be used to determine college placement. And it's going to be an unweighted GPA.
Okay. Now we're going to have Miss Deanna Parker.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well today. So the adult high school diplomas must be of the same quality and appearance as the local LEA. I know that sometimes our diplomas are questioned, but I think with ADVANSYS that's made things a little bit more concise, so they all look the same. Of course, they have the local college name, Board of Education as the granting institutions, and must include these 4 signatures: the local college president, the LEA superintendent, and then the chairs of the board from the local LEA and the college. The graduation date does not have to match the LEA yearly graduation dates, as long as your documentation and their documentation are concise. Awarding credits. So adult high school students must meet the same number of credits required for graduation by NCDPI. That is currently 22. Of course, there may be some differences between your affiliation agreements and DPI's requirements. Of course, it is that 22, but some LEAs may request certain classes be part of the affiliation agreement as well. So just make sure that you check those whenever you're communicating with your LEA. Adult high school students must follow the Future Ready core graduation requirements. Just a little tip of advice from me: always check those math credits. Sometimes there are substitutions that can be made in that area, in particular with elective credits versus math credits. So just be careful with that one. But there is a layout in the guide of what math credits are allowable as substitutions. And then elective credits can come from a variety of sources. I think we've all seen some probably weird electives over the years if you've been doing this for a little while. So just make sure that you check those as well. And then military elective credit may be awarded for military experience. We do not offer AP or honors courses, so make sure that that's something that you explain to students when they first come into your program, because that can affect GPA. Also, the occupational courses study pathway is not available in the AHS program, and you can check on DPI to look at, you know, how the occupational courses study program has changed over the years versus the regular adult high school diploma program. And then local community colleges may permit a student to prove mastery of a core course through challenge testing. Always remember that that's only a maximum of 2 courses. I know some schools do that and some schools don't. So again, just be careful with your documentation regarding those mastery tests before you award credit for those classes. And then awarding credit for curriculum and Con Ed classes. AHS programs may award elective credit to students for curriculum or Con Ed courses. If it is allowable within the affiliation agreement with the LEA. Again, just make sure that you're being upfront in those affiliation agreements and that you, along with the LEA, understand exactly what those mean. AHS programs will need to assign a letter grade for each completed continuing education course. And then local programs should work with the continuing education department to grade a 10-point grading scale for each course. And of course, we are all on that 10-point grading scale now. AHS programs may earn a post-secondary enrollment measurable skill gain. Those PSE, MSGs, I don't know about y'all, but we have an acronym for everything around here. So sometimes you have to explain exactly what those are. For students who enroll in curriculum programs or those Con Ed courses that are identified as eligible for the Title II post-secondary transition during the program year. So, and of course, you have to check those enrollment dates, and that can fluctuate if those students qualify for those PSE, MSGs or not. And then also awarding credits. So biology, chemistry, and other lab courses are optional. One thing that we've done here at Wilkes is that we have made those a requirement, but Apex offers the dry lab option. So that's given our online students the option to complete the labs as well. Credit is based on mastery of established competencies rather than on a certain number of instructional hours. And that is a little bit different within the AHS curriculum. And then North Carolina mathematics graduation requirements are in the attached handout. Like I said before, just make sure that you check those very thoroughly because they can change from year to year. So just make sure that you're looking at those clusters of what's applicable and then what's not. And then occupational course of study transfer credits. So the OCS pathway is not available in the AHS program, but OCS students may participate in the AHS program. And again, just a word to the wise, make sure that you're checking those transcripts very carefully so that those credits are transferable and that they are the same thing as what you're looking for, like just math in particular. The occupational course of study program math credits are very different than those that are required for the Future Ready core. So again, just check those as you're going through your transcripts. And again, all of that is in the guide as well. It's just word to the wise. Sometimes schools code things a little bit differently. So just work with your local LEAs and figure out how they're coding their classes. And other OCS non-ready credits are transferable in the AHS program. So your electives in particular, sometimes those students can receive an elective credit for one of those math classes or something that they may have taken that are not necessarily transferable into the AHS program.
All right, I think we're going to pass off to Miss Jill Story. Jill, you're muted.
So sorry. Hopes everybody's having a great afternoon. As you know, as of January the 1st, 2016, all of our adult high school programs went to the 10-point grading scale. So make sure that you're checking that date and make sure you're going with that 10-point grading scale. Traditional letter grades are assigned by the local community college where the student has taken the courses and given credits for our adult high school programs. So just make sure you give the letter grade, and that is what we put in ADVANSYS, not a number, but a letter grade. Okay. All public high school students must meet the minimum state graduation requirements to earn a diploma. And these are in the Future Ready courses of study. And we have a link here that you can look and you can check all those to make sure that you're putting the courses that you need for there. 22 courses. Credits is the number that you have to do for the Future Ready course of study to graduate from high school. Now, some states have a different number, or our state number requires 22, but some community colleges have additional credits that they want to have in there, and you can do that. You can have additional courses and credits to graduate, but you make sure that you put that in your affiliation agreement so the LEAs know what you're requiring for those students to graduate from your community college. Okay, here's what we need. 4 Englishes, English 1, English 2, English 3, and English 4. Now, these are for students that enter the ninth grade starting 2021 through 2025. The 4 math credits, NC Math 1, 2, 3, and a 4th math. And you have a whole list of courses that you can give for that 4th math credit. 3 sciences, biology, physical science, and earth and environmental. And these have to be exact. Now you can give chemistry for physical science if that's something that, if it's a higher course that aligns with that, you can give that instead of physical science if the student took chemistry instead of physical science. Now these 9th graders that started this year of 2021, these are their 4 social studies that they have to have: founding principles of United States and American and North Carolina civic literacy, economics and personal finance, American history, and world history. 1 health and PE, including successful completion of CCR to meet healthful living, essential standards as a requirement of high school graduation, and then 6 electives. And there is a reference in there for DPI guidance on that. A student may complete the graduating requirements of their graduating class if enrolled in an NC high school within the past 5 years. What this means is if a student comes to you and they're within 5 years of their cohort 9th grade graduating, the high schools, the LEAs can code them W2T, and they can get credit for a transfer instead of a dropout. And like with us at our community college, that's a big part of our affiliation agreement. So these schools know when they come to us, they're not having to code these students dropouts. So what we're required to do is to spur these students on to get them graduated within that 5-year time, so we can let the schools know so they can give them that W2T code. All right, this is the documentation for the LEIS. You make sure that it says on number 13, the high school credits to graduate, a minimum of 22. If you require more, you can put that there. How many they transferred in. Then their credits on number 15. You update this annually, how many they earned in a program year. So that's why it has to be updated annually to see how many they earned in that year. Number 16, when they first attempted a course, and this needs to be on or before their assessment date. 17 is when their first course was completed in that program year. And number 18 was when the diploma was earned. Those are all the top part of the LEIS that you have to fill out there. And the difference between 13 and 14 should be the remaining number of credits needed to graduate upon their initial intake. Okay, there's many ways you can earn an MSG with an adult high school student. Now, as somebody said before, if they're coded adult high school, they're going to enter with a level 5 or a level 6. If it's under the 75%, they'll be a level 5. If they're over the 75%, it'll be a level 6. So the ways that they can get an MSG is to get credits. If they're under the 75%, when they get to that 75%, they can get a gain that way. And then they go to level 6. If you test them pre and post test, they can get a level gain. In our school, we test everybody who comes into us with less than 13 credits. That's usually a way that we think about it, that they can't maybe get to that 75%. So we do test them. If somebody comes in with 17 or 18 credits, we talk about it and see what will be best for that student and kind of take them on an individual basis. But our hold there, and that's your local decision there, is 13 credits for us. They can get an MSG with a diploma. And if they change what they're doing and they want to do an HSC to get a credential, of course they can get one that way. When they exit the program and enter post-secondary, of course they can get again that way. And if they're enrolled in any of the IETs, they can get MSGs 3 through 5 through the workforce literacy or workplace literacy program. For a student to achieve an automatic level gain on adult high school, you have to have everything entered correctly and update each program year. As they said before, the reason you have to update every year is because there's no 270 look back with adult high school, so you have to put it in every year. Okay. Adult high school curriculum shall be competency-based, consisting of core and elective credits required for high school graduation. And you still have to consider the standard course of study set by the state and local community college within the content standards when you develop curriculum materials used for instruction. And there's a link there for the content standards. Okay.
All right. So now we're going to move to the ADVANSYS, the live demo. And I believe we are in luck because it looks like Jessica Rieger is on with us today. But I will be doing my due diligence with ADVANSYS. And if we have any questions, it looks like Jessica may be available to assist us. That's fantastic. Let me share my screen. Okay. You should be seeing an ADVANSYS student account. Of course, I'm in the staging the demo site, and the student in this particular instance is my cat. So I created a student account, and the workflow that is suggested for this is when you're starting a student account of course, you want to look up the student name. You want to see if they have been already entered into an ADVANSYS. If they have not, it will prompt you to create a student account. I think many of us are kind of very familiar with that, but if not, then we can certainly add. For time benefit, I went ahead and created the student account. And as you can see, the enrollment type is adult high school. As you are creating the student account, it will prompt you to add program types. Once the program types are added, you click on the program enrollment type and it will have a drop-down box and it will present options. You can enroll the student in multiple programs of study. They just need to be enrolled one at a time. And you can ensure that that information was saved correctly. As you pull up the student account, you will notice that you will see the adult high school student enrollment type listed here, as well as under the provider enrollment. And then we can go and take also a look at the transcripts, the student transcripts. That is accessible through the student menu option under the transcript tab, of course. As you can see, I have placed some courses in, some transfer courses for my cat. I did that through adding a new student record. And you can list the provider name that you're transferring the class over, and you can list whatever subject you want, whatever subject area you would like, and the date that it was achieved, the grade level, As you see, it prompts you as you go through, and you can select the graduation subject area as well as the sub area. And you can list the credits earned, how many attempts, and you want to save, and it will reflect on the transcript. Now, for example, if you would like to go and make an edit, you can just drill in and it will allow you to make those changes. I'm not sure. It may not let me do that, Sharon. It may not let me drill in Sharon's screen. But this is the tab that you would use to edit the transcript. So it's a pretty easy, straightforward process. And all of this is detailed in the manual. We have screenshots. We have provided lots and lots of resources and supplemental information to try and assist as you are navigating through the adult high school adventures. And do we have any questions?
We have had a few, but they've been answered in the chat.
Thank
Courtney
you.
Jackson asked, is there 5-year reference date from the year they entered 9th grade or from their original projected graduation? That is the year they entered the 9th grade. And Russell Gardner asked, is every student not required to have an NRS registration if they're active AHS? And Delonda answered, thank you, Delonda, they are required to have an NRS registration. And it was just omitted from the demo just because the demo site is not friendly with integrated registration.
Yes, and Sissy added to make sure you put the grade so it calculates in the GPA. Yes, most definitely. Yes, be mindful of that. And those reminders are listed in the manual. We only allocated like a very short period of time for the demo because we thought we would be running much further along. So we're doing great. In case anyone has any questions. Has anyone had a chance to review the manual, look at it?
I have.
Well, I would like to say thank you for the committee members. They have been really, really valuable and helping us. And this entire manual has been a product of lots and lots of hard work, time, effort, and it would not be possible without the feedback of the providers. So thank you for your time and your efforts. It looks like we may have some questions. Okay, good. Good. It looks like thank you. Everybody's jumping in and being so nice and helpful. That's great.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with what you said about all the assistance we've had from the Adult High School Advisory Board.
Yes. It looks like Chanel has a question.
I do. Can you go back over, I know you were mentioning about, or someone was mentioning about challenging a course. Can you all quickly review that in regards to when you're saying challenging a course, how is a mastery provided or what is done? I guess to say a student has mastered the course. So what are some things that other maybe colleges, if they're using it, are implementing to allow a student to challenge a course or to prove their mastery?
We provide the final exam that's given, like at Wilkes Community College, we use Apex. So we provide the final exam that's given almost like an EOC type exam that's comprehensive within the course. And if the student makes 80% or better, then that course has been challenged and that student has passed with that course. I'm not sure what other institutions do, but that's what we do here because we feel like that's a more comprehensive exam than just like a single unit test.
We do the same. It's the end of the course test. And we just print that off and put it in there and provide the grade. And of course, it has to be an 80 or better.
Okay. And to kind of piggyback off of that, is that just something that a student says, hey, can I challenge, or you recommending? I just trying to kind of get a feel because it's the first time I'm hearing of it. So I'm just trying to, and I probably have at least one student that, probably could have challenged a course in the past. So just trying to figure out how to move, move forward with that.
Yeah, the student will request that they want to challenge. Now, they can only challenge 2 of the core courses. They can't challenge their electives, but it's all a maximum of 2 that they can challenge. And if somebody tells me that I'm pretty good in this, I say, well, you can challenge this. I mean, there's no loss. If they don't make an 80 or better, they just go through the course. So if they feel like it's something that they can achieve, I would tell them to go ahead and try, and then they're going to be doing the course anyway. So that's kind of how we do that.
Okay, and just one more question about that. For your documentation, how you all documenting that in their hard file, or to say they challenge a course?
We print we make a note on there that the student chose to challenge, and that we just print off the test that they took in Apex. We use Apex also, and we just print that off, and that goes in their file with their grade, and then that's the grade that's in ADVANSYS for the course.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you all so much.
We also try to take into consideration their initial placement test scores if we give them a CASAS or a TABE or something like that, just to sort of see where their reading and math skill levels are. So if they scored really high in a particular subject area, we may suggest that the student challenge test within that one particular area, or perhaps they've had a gap. So like, let's say they've taken an American History 2, but for some reason they missed an American History 1, or they try to do a credit recovery within that class and it didn't work. I feel like challenge testing is on a very case-by-case basis, but if they're missing like half of a type of class, like I said, if they took the American History 2 past that, but for some reason on the transcript, they dropped that American 1, we may suggest that they take that as a challenge test, just so they're not spinning their wheels, taking up time for a subject that they may know more about than what they think they know. And I mean, the challenge test is, maybe an hour to 2 hours, depending on the student. So it's not like they're wasting a lot of time if they do want to try.
All right. Looks like we have a question from Erin Kane. Her question is, what if the student is from out of our state, but has relocated to our area? Do they fall under the AOA of the local high school system? So yeah, out-of-state student who's relocated to their service area.
I have had people reach out to me and want to know if when we get students, were they here and how are they doing? And if they do that, I do reach out back, to them and let them know. But, that's not in our agreement affiliation schools. But, just as a courtesy, I let them know if they ask. And but it's really just the ones you have affiliation agreements with. And the way we have an ongoing spreadsheet with our school systems, and we put in there how many credits they have passed, and that's something that we update constantly when they graduate, and then we send a letter to them to let them know that they've graduated. So it's not, and we don't wait till the end of the semester to do that. When that happens, that we send it then, so the school system knows and they can go ahead and plan on that. But just so if somebody's out of state, you have to be careful with, what they, and I've called schools out of state because sometimes the way they name courses is kind of different. And if I'm confused on what it is, there's always a number on that transcript. You can call the school and get clarification of what a subject that the student took is about, and does it, equal out to what we have here to give them credit for that course.
Thank you. It looks like Andrea wanted to make a note that sometimes students do not pass a traditional high school because of attendance, and they really did most of the classwork. So in those instances, she definitely suggests a challenge testing for those students. That's a great point, Andrea.
One thing I noted in the comments to Aaron's question is if you have an out-of-state student and you're looking at an incoming transcript to award transfer credit, make sure you're using that out-of-state grading rubric to determine what the grade would be. We can't up convert their grades to allow credit. So they have to, if they would receive credit where they came from, then it can be credit, but we can't convert it to our grading system and then give credit that way.
Mhm. And it looks like we have a question from Courtney. She's wanting to know what everybody else is using. Are they using Colleague to print out the old Colleague styles for former graduates who did not transfer over to Advances? What are the other providers doing?
You asking about the transcript?
Yes.
So yes, if the student finished with us before we moved over to Advances, then yes, we're still printing the transcript from Colleague.
Okay, I think that catches us up on the chat. Well, I'm going to hand it over to you, Mike. I think that's everything in the chat that I saw.
I believe so. I'm just waiting a moment to see if anybody's
Yeah.
furiously typing away a question. But if not, Rebecca, did you have anything else from your notes that you wanted to say?
Not so much from my notes, but I am curious to know of those who are on the call, how many have a credit threshold for the students that they would accept into an adult high school program. So if we have time and you're willing to share if your school has a credit threshold or 0 credit threshold, just put the name of your school and the number of credits, incoming credits you require for adult high school. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare a poll for this, but I'm just curious to see that information kind of across the state. Thank you. That's very interesting. I'm surprised to see the differences.
Do we want to maybe give guidance on where to find the manual if they need to find it, Mike, or they need to reference it or share it with someone?
Let me share my screen in just a moment. I'm going to also post a link in the chat to the guide and the affiliation template.
Jennifer, to answer your question, the PowerPoint will be attached to the recording, and the recording, a copy of that notification will be sent out that it's been uploaded, and that'll come from Dan Loges.
There will not be an announcement that it's been uploaded.
Okay, sorry.
But you can just go to the NCPD archives at nctitle2.org, and it will be there within a week.
Thank you.
And those 2 links I posted, they look the same, but they should be different. One should be the implementation guide and one should be the agreement of affiliation template. Let me minimize a couple of things so I can find the screen. So sorry.
Okay. Jennifer, also, if you are needing some help, some one-on-one help, Mike and I are happy to work with you. I know you are new to your role, so we are more than willing to help you navigate through this process, especially with it being your first time. There's a lot of steps to it, so I want to make sure that you feel comfortable and supported. Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Dan.
Carla, can you see my screen? Adult high
Yes.
school. Okay. So this is the landing page for adult high school on our North Carolina Community Colleges system website. And here you can download the implementation guide and agreement of affiliation. If you click either one of these, it will land you on the 2 links that I submitted to the chat. There will also very soon be a third button here that will be a template for a possible adult high school diploma in case that you find a need for one. It's not a requirement that you use it. It's just we've had providers in the past that have said, hey, we're new to adult high school. We need a template for the diploma. Do we have something for it? Our old implementation guide had an example, but being a PDF and being kind of an image file, it was kind of ungainly to work with, but you should be able to have this file here probably sometime by the end of the week. It'll be on this landing page here. Chat. I think we're caught up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for all your work with this. And Mike, did you say that there were some updates coming? So there may be a new manual again next year in the odd year?
Yes, there will be an off-year update to the manual because there will be a new, an additional graduation requirement that's going to come into effect sometime next program year, next calendar year for high school. And so there'll be an interim update in the odd year next year, but don't stress and don't sweat it now. More forthcoming. We'll have plenty of time between now and then to get on top of that.
And it won't be nearly as large of an update to the manual, so it'll probably come out much earlier in the summer, so you'll have more time for signatures. Just want to say that ahead of time as you're planning. I know some of your schools try to get things signed in bulk with your partner agencies.
Absolutely. If we don't have any further questions at this time, Rebecca, if we don't have anything else to add, I would like to thank everybody that has had a hand in the presentation today, Carla and our adult high school team, and Rebecca as well. And welcome also to the team, Rebecca. I didn't say that earlier. Thank you all for so much for attending today and all of your questions and just being here with us. And we look forward to continuing to work with you this year. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns that come up for adult high school. And with that, I'll see you off and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everybody.